Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to another edition of Intuitive Angling, and really appreciate you guys watching today's video out. And guys, today we're going to be talking about what is my favorite all-time bass fishing lure. I'm going to show you what it is, talk a little bit about how to fish it, and I can promise you guys you will never guess what it is, because you guys know that I love Megabass jerk baits and my old school jig. It's not any of that. You guys, I would. I know there's nobody's going to know what this thing is, so we're going to get into that. The reason I did this is Owen was telling me the other day, he goes, man, you ought to do a video on what your favorite lure is and what your least favorite lure is, and lure you caught the most fish on, the lure you haven't caught much on. And I thought, man, that's a pretty good idea. So that's what we're going to do next few videos on different, lures that have been good for me and not good. So real quick, guys, before we get started, I just wanted to remind you all out there, if you guys haven't had a chance, please check out our View Product Shopping tab. When the video comes on, you'll see a bunch of products listed on there. And as you can see, the products down there that I list, we put 30 in a day. If you purchase one of those products through that link there, the channel gets a small commission off of that. So it's a good way to support the channel if you're inclined to do that. Okay guys, I'll tell you right off the bat what it is, and you'll never guess what it is. This is my favorite lure, and then I'll explain why it is. It's the old flip-tail lizard, guys. The old black flip-tail lizard. This bait is, probably 60 years old. This type of stuff. Guys, this is my favorite lure to fish as far as how exciting it is when the fish bite it. Because you fish this thing on top or just under the water. You don't fish it on a Texas rig. It's a surface lure like that. And anyway, this has sort of been, there's a lot of guys that know about this in my part of the country, and they sort of keep it secret. The reason I wanted to talk about it is it just doesn't work as good as what it used to. I mean, it used to be, I never talked about this. I mean, it was a hidden secret of mine I never talked about, but I talk about it a little bit now, simply because for whatever reason, like a lot of lures, in the fact that we don't have as many bass in our lakes today, and they're a lot more educated. They just won't bite this like they used to. But anyway, why this is so exciting and why it's my favorite lure to fish, it's the way that the bass bite this thing when they hit it. There's nothing like it. It's like the most unbelievable strike I have ever seen in my life when they're on it. And I've done good in tournaments, guys. I've made the top 10 in 2 FLW tournaments on this back in the late 90s and early 2000s. So I've had a lot of tournament success on it. But you fish it just with either an EWG or a straight shank hook with no weight on it. And you fish it like a fluke or floating worm. So I'm casting it out there and I'm just twitching it, and it's just sort of like wiggling along the surface like that, or maybe just under the surface. And the color of this thing, the black color, and just the profile and whatever it is about it, guys, when those fish are in the right mood and the right personality on this thing, I could not put the number of 4 and 5 pound bass that I've caught on this thing in my boat. I've caught so many good fish on this thing. And what they do, and this is why it's so cool and why it's my favorite lure to fish, is the way they hit it is like you'll be working it through the top of the water or just under the water or on the surface. And these fish, this is the way they hit it every time. They come up from behind it in slow motion and they swim up on it, and it's just like in slow motion, they just grab it like that. And then they just turn and swim away with it like that. I never seen anything like it. It was like, I remember we were fishing a tournament down at Sam Rayburn Lake. It was back in the 90s. And first time I ever fished Sam, it was the second time I ever fished Sam Rayburn Lake back in the late 80s. And anyway, that's back when this thing was really good. And guys, the last day of practice on it, you could not believe the day I had on it. If you were in the boat with me, you would have it would have been one of your top 3 memorable days ever. The fish the water was flooded in the buck brushes, and I was throwing this thing along the edge of the buck brushes, and these big ones, I'm talking 5 to 8 pounders, you'd see them swim out of the bush slowly, and they'd come up in slow motion and grab this thing and turn down. And I had the hook cut off, and going into that tournament the next day, the tournament started the next day, I told the guys I was staying with, I said, unless something happens, I'm going to win this tournament. It goes, The only thing that I'm not sure is how, if I'm going to win it by 20 pounds or 30 pounds, because if I get the fish to bite that I had hit me on this thing, I'm going to win this tournament by 30 pounds. I had never been so confident in my life. And of course, that night we had a freaking epic cold front come through. We had this cold front come through. It dropped the temperature of the lake, probably not the temperature of the lake, but it dropped the air temperature probably 30 degrees. And the wind the day before when I was catching them on this thing was calm and warm, just maybe a little puff of a breeze out of the south. And the wind switched around out of the north, and it was blowing probably 30 miles an hour with the 30-degree temperature drop. Guys, they wouldn't even look at this thing. I never had one single bite on it. I had to wind up catching them flipping. But guys, I've had some unbelievable baits. And I say this is my favorite bait. It's not the bait that I've caught the most fish on or won the most money, but it's the funnest bait that I've ever fished. So anyway, shoot me some comments. Let me know what your guys' favorite baits are, and we'll talk later. See you.